Hi, so I saw this Reddit post, and this Reddit post is very instrumental in understanding the woman mindset and how the Western civilization works. So basically, this Reddit post is part of a subreddit, Traumatize Them Back. Now, in certain cases, Traumatize Them Back is just about people traumatizing their traumatizers. If it is interpersonal relationship, in some sense it makes sense. But in other cases, it is literally delving on the edge of doing some things which are very wrong and unethical. And the persons who are doing it and claiming that they are both the victims and they are the heroes actually have their own subjective standard of what is traumatizing them. And in order to take revenge and claim a moral high ground and claim a sort of heroism, what they are doing is they are breaking a lot of moral and ethical guidelines and perhaps even legal guidelines in traumatizing their supposed traumatizers. In fact, this subreddit shows the absolute scum of humanity. And OP was posted this thread, probably a woman, uh, if this post is correct, is one of them. So this post is about I stalked my stalker and he did not like it. Now this sounds very strange and absurd because stalking your stalker is is hilariously absurd because the way stalking is treated is not the same as other type of crimes. Like I said, in interpersonal relationships, it makes sense to take some sort of revenge, but it does not make sense to take revenge for women in crimes like stalking, where they say that there is sort of harm that is done that is absolutely morally evil. It's kind of like this. Imagine if some man or some person rapes another person, and the other person says to traumatize them, I raped them back. Or someone makes a video of someone else naked by installing some cameras in their restroom or something like that. And the person traumatizes them back by doing the same thing. Now, the way the sexual crimes are treated in the Western society and the way they're believed to be morally evil, this doesn't make sense. It seems that the second person has done something which makes that person immoral as well. In fact, by trying to claim a high ground while trying to do all of these things, makes that person very, 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 very immoral. And this is exactly what shows you that when women talk about these absolute moral evils that are committed on them, they actually don't mean it. Because if they actually meant it, and the society meant it, then they will not do back of what is being done to them because they believe that to be absolutely evil. But we don't have to go into that detail. This post, I will not read it, it is a little long, but it is about a woman who makes one of her obscure art projects temporarily available online. In it, she is, kid you not, naked for a few minutes. And then some guy obsesses over her, makes creepy messages, sends her screenshots, follows her, posts some messages in her DM, makes videos about her. And what she does is she finds who that person is and does the same thing to them. She harasses that person. Now, all of this post sounds shady, but the biggest and the most funniest aspect of it is that all of this is not literally just about crime. But if you see the comment section, it is also about the shame that the stalker is carrying, about him doing something inappropriate, something that is bad, indecent. People are saying that they should complain about about him to his parents and things like that. And when you realize all of this, and you just read the start of this post, when it is about a woman posting her naked video, or I guess pictures, in the name of obscure art project online. Just think of it, putting your naked pictures on the internet and then saying that other people are not decent. This whole thread is just a joke. It really tells you how the mind of women works, but also how the liberal morality or the Western morality works. So initially, what women did is they fought for their sexual freedom and the right to sexually express themselves in public and not to be shamed for their sexual desires, which is pertinent here because she's sharing her naked pics on the internet, sharing her naked pics to the people. That is, You cannot go naked in public. In fact, if you go naked in public, you will be probably registered as sex offender. But she's posting her naked pictures on the internet, and she's treating that as very calm thing. Just think about it. If you think what all this guy did, and you talk just about the shameful part of it, what is more shameful? Doing all of this to a woman, or a woman posting her naked pictures online for other people to see because of something going on in her mind, which obviously we know about it. But let's pretend we don't know. Let us say that it was really about the obscure art project, because of which she wanted to share her naked pictures, not because of validation, or because she's a creepy sexual pervert, or a sexual predator, or just a degenerate. Just a person who is, in some sense, let us not use the words that YouTube will ban or complain about, but you understand my point. What is even funnier about all of these people who are literally agonized about a woman posting her naked pictures on the internet, but not about her posting the naked pictures, but by people or a guy creeping on her, which is something interesting itself. I mean, if he's talking about decency, perhaps you should stop and ask, why are you posting your naked pictures? And how is that not indecent? But of course, the woman has said that the women have fought for their sexual desires to not be considered indecent, which is stupid. Because if indeed we feel that it is indecent, then this woman is literally an indecent pervert, which just makes all the rest of her post irrelevant. But what is the second or even most funnier aspect of it is how women justify it in their head, how they are the victims. She says, those few minutes sparked a wave of obsession from random dudes online that is still going on to this day. Welcome to the internet as a woman. And she posts a smiling emoji. Just look at this. She says, welcome to the internet as a woman. But she accepts. There's those few minutes when she's naked sparked a wave of obsession from random dudes online that is still going on to this day. Because she shared her naked pictures. That is why people are obsessing over her. So how it is welcome to this internet as a woman? Unless she believes that even if the woman is posting naked pictures online, that is a completely normal exercise of their freedom of expression or sexual expression, which makes her again an indecent pervert, and not just her indecent pervert, but all the women. Sharing your naked pictures onto the internet is not a normal thing to do. So, welcome to the internet as a woman. What does it even mean? She is getting that negative attention because she shared the naked pictures. So it has nothing to do with the women who are not sharing their naked pictures or the men who are not sharing the naked pictures. She's literally doing something that is very extreme, that is very perverted, that is very on the end of the scale. And then she's classifying herself as being part of a whole group of women who are getting some bad experience from the people, which I tell you, she does not believe that it is bad. In fact, she's enjoying. But she also wants to take a moral high ground, and she obviously wants to attack and criticize the people she does not find desirable. In fact, she makes fun of the appearance of the person in this post. So, what women do is they want sexual attention. They wear skimpy outfits, they wear provocative outfits. I mean, they literally had a slut walk in which they walked in slutty outfits in front of not even just men, but old men and children. But then, how they can gain a moral high ground and how they can say that they are not doing something wrong and how they can protect themselves from those dudes from whom they don't want attention. Then they will say, oh, I don't want this attention. I'm doing it for an obscure art project. It is just a normal thing. But I am being objectified, sexualized. But all the sexual attention that they get, that they want, they take it. She is clearly not upset by sharing about sharing her naked pictures. Perhaps she shared because she wanted that sexual attention, because there is a perverted mindset in her hand which is going on, which wants this idea to showcase her body to different people because she is a sexual deviant. And in fact, sexual deviants should be first put in the prison. That makes the rest of her post irrelevant. I mean, just imagine all this argument about other people being indecent when she is the one sharing the naked pictures. And of course, all of this, again, as I'd say, is because the women have fought and said that their sexual desires should not be criminalized. Their sexual desires should not be shamed, which shows that they are the sexual perverts. And then they go on, in order to gain power, criticize and shame men for their sexual desires or their sexual behavior. In fact, even if you leave the rest of the post, she is mocking men who are obsessed about her, which is hilarious because that is their sexual desire. I don't know. Just think of it in this manner. If her posting naked pictures of her on the internet is not to be considered sexually deviant and absurd, why should we shame other men? Why should we not accept their sexual desires? If women can post their naked pictures on the internet and can walk around in skimpy outfits in public and tell about their sexual experiences and have the full right to sexually express themselves both in public and in private, then what morality stops men? And why should we police or be upset about men's supposedly indecent behavior? Who defines what is indecent? If we cannot define a woman posting her naked pictures online as being sexually deviant and indecent. This whole post sheds light on feminism. Remember, when the feminism movement or when the women say that they have the right to do something with regards to their freedom in which no one can object and no one can impose the tag of slut or indecent on them, what they want is not a right, they want a privilege. They want others people morality, others people's disgust to not affect them when they do sexually deviant activities. But they don't want to give that same space to men. Why? Because their reason for doing sexually deviant activities is for their own benefit, for their own satisfaction or sexual pleasure, and for their monetary gain or status or property or anything else that they believe they can gain by sharing their naked pictures on the internet or by dressing provocatively or by doing certain indecent things. But because they want that power, they have to shame men. Otherwise, their power is not fully realized. So, this whole post really reflects on why people should not be shy of shaming the sexual perverts among the women, including this woman. I don't know what is her real identity, but just think of it. Do we really want to see and say that she's not a sexual deviant? That she, who is posting her naked pictures on the internet, is not the indecent Maximus? There's literally no argument except an argument which goes something like people have the right to sexually express themselves. And people, if the people have the right to sexually express themselves, then this whole post becomes irrelevant. And of course, this idea that people have the right to sexually express themselves or women have the right to sexually express themselves does not prevent them from shaming. And if you start with this idea, unlike these people who actually are not upset about indecency, because if they were upset about indecency, if they were decent people, all of these people were decent people, they would be shocked as to why this woman is calmly talking about sharing her naked pictures and treating it as an experience of all women. Unless, of course, all women try to push their sexually provocative pictures on the internet and then claim innocence, which kind of can be true as well. Perhaps not for all women, but for most of the women. But if you look at it, none of the people on this post who are siding with this woman and this woman are decent. And this is where the argument takes a very different turn. Why should we not shame these people? Why should we not publicly shame these people? And if she is posting her naked pictures on the internet, she has posted, why we need her consent to share it back? If she is comfortable and the naked picture is not salacious, then no consent is needed to share that picture. Just like no consent is needed to share a picture of a person in a cloth. But if that picture is something wrong to do with it, then only the consent is required. I mean, does anyone require permission of Elon Musk to share his pictures on the internet? To share his own picture that he has shared on the internet? Of course they can. Then why cannot they share her naked pictures if she herself posted those naked pictures? If there's a difference between a naked picture and there is a difference between a picture of someone who is clothed, then how is she not a sexual deviant? Remember, she is saying that she can post her naked pictures on the internet, exposing herself, naked self, to others like a pervert and a predator. But other people cannot post those pictures because those pictures are somehow not normal. But then why she posted them? This answer you will not get from any person because the idea is simple. Women's sexuality is something that they can push on others. But you should not treat that as normal, except in a ways that benefit the woman. So you have to consider it normal as long as she's talking about the obscure art project. But they are not normal when you are sharing that further without her consent. Because of course, in her mind as well, and in the mind of all of these creeps and predators, those pictures are not normal. In fact, they all are the perverts and they are blaming that guy. Imagine if you go to her parents and say, this woman is posting her naked pictures online. And if these parents don't object, then this whole idea of shaming that guy by telling to his parents doesn't make sense. Because that would be the absurdity of the highest level. In this, you understand by this example how women are cracking in, how they use sex in both a moral and an immoral way and choose which they like in order to justify their impulses and their perverted desires and in order to gain power. Such women should not be considered normal. In fact, as I mentioned, they should be treated as sexual deviants, which this woman clearly is. Now, let's end this conversation here, but I will show more examples of women's mind and work and how, when they complain about sexualization and objectification, they're not complaining about sexualization and objectification. They're complaining about the harm or lack of benefit that they see from the sexualization and objectification, and how they perceive that only as good when they benefit from it, which means that it is not about immorality, but it is about ego and about greed, and of course, about lust, which marks the three main traits that are these women, and perhaps a lot of women, because she puts herself in group with other women and no one objects. Maybe what I'm talking about is perhaps the way a lot of women are, if not all.